Hi there, I'm Jen, this is Remembered Reads, and this is going to be my TBR, or potential TBR, for the 7th annual March Mystery Madness. If you haven't heard of March Mystery Madness before, I made an announcement video a couple of weeks ago. There's a whole host of hosts because we always try to bring all different parts and sections of BookTube together with the kind of overlapping communities of genres that people follow. I will link to the whole host list below, and if you're not following us on various social media, Discord, Instagram, etc., please join us. That'll be down there too. This year's theme is 2x2, and you're free to interpret that however you want. So I'm going to share a few things that I may be reading. So the first take on 2x2 that I'm going to have are books that clearly sit in overlapping genres. So first up, I talked about a different book in this series in my announcement video, but this is Mass Effect Andromeda Annihilation by Catherynne and Valente. This is a tie-in to the Mass Effect video game series, and you might think to yourself, well, surely that genre is science fiction, but no, this is in fact a murder mystery, because it involves diseases, jumping species, and it looks like an accident, but no, it is in fact a murder. So yes, this is a whodunit in space in the Mass Effect universe. And another of my favorite crossover genres is the historical fiction urban fantasy mystery. I often talk about D.B. Jackson's Thief Taker series, which is set in Revolutionary War era Boston, and I do have more books in that series which I might read, but I was also thinking I might pick up something new. This is Mary Robinette Kowal's Ghost Talkers, which is set in the First World War, and the urban fantasy element to it is that the spirit mediums that people used to be scammed by, who would tell them they're talking to their dead soldier relatives, are a real thing. And in this one of the mediums is channeling a soldier who tells her about a traitor, and she has to work out who the traitor is. So we've got some investigation elements and a historical urban fantasy setting, so that should be fun. To go into some more traditional style mysteries, in my announcement video I mentioned that a great 2x2 version would be to read something by a pair of authors, and here I have the most recent volume in Charles Todd's Ian Rutledge series, A Game of Fear. Charles Todd is actually a two-person writing team. It's a mother-son writing team. The mother sadly passed away last year, but I believe there's still another book or two, since they had two series, in the pipeline, but this is the most recently published one, so I think it would be fun to get to that. There's a bookmark in here, not because I read it, but because I just stole that from my mother. And by stole, I mean borrowed. Another idea would be to read the second book in a series, and this here is Malla Nunn's Let the Dead Lie. This is a series that is set in South Africa during the 70s, and the author has based this series on, I believe, the life of one of her uncles, probably in an exaggerated way, knowing that it's a mystery series. She is originally from Swaziland, although she currently lives in Australia. And I always say I'm going to read more Australian authors, although hilariously all the Australians I read have been born elsewhere, so maybe I'm still cheating on my Australian goal if I read that. Either way, it fits for March Mystery Madness though, so that's okay. Next up, it wouldn't be March Mystery Madness if I didn't pick up some Agatha Christie short stories. And another thing that I stole, meaning borrowed, from my mother, the set of audiobooks on CD of Poirot Investigates, which is a collection of 11 short stories, narrated by David Suchet, so that's fun since he was Poirot in the TV series. If I get through fewer than 11 of them, hopefully it'll be an even number, so that will be divisible by 2. But if I listen to them all, 11 is a double 1 and 1. So, or maybe I can listen to 4 of them, and then it will be 2 times 2, which is perfect. Either way, that could work. Since March is also middle grade March, I thought it would be fun to reread this book that I think I did accidentally steal, The Dollhouse Murder, which I believe is about strange things happening in a dollhouse, and I'm not sure if it turns out to be a scam or if it turns out to be ghosts, because it has been a very long time since I read that. So that would be fun. Another middle grade mystery that I might read to cross over between the two, Supermax and the Mystery of Thornwoods Revenge. This ties into the 2x2 because I meant to read this last year and never got around to it, so it's a second chance. And in this, a child sleuth is investigating what's happening in a semi-abandoned mansion in her house? In her house? No, in her neighborhood, I believe. This is weirdly long for a book for that age group. And actually, now that I think of it, I have another second chance mystery, not a middle grade one this time. I'm going to hold up this, which is a different book in the series. I realized that I haven't actually read the third book in Ausma Zehanat Khan's Getty and Hatak series, which is called Among the Ruins. So I will give that a go too. I'm going to pick that up at the library later because I did check online and my local library has a copy, so I don't even need to put that on hold. As I usually do, I will be probably picking up a couple of mystery comics later. I haven't gone to check out which ones I do because I always pick those up through Hoopla and there is a monthly limit on them. So I haven't bothered looking now, but I think I will be making a separate video on that in a week or two. So if you're curious about that, you can watch for that one. If you've read any of these, I'd love to hear your opinions. And if you are using some of the same versions of the 2x2 to guide your reading, I'd love to hear about that as well. All right, that's it for now. Ciao.